Hello anybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Legacy. I'm Mr. Devious, or just Deeb, and in the last episode, Sir Glauber destroyed the legendary Alexander, only to get taken down by an eyeball. But that finished up the Forest of Abkhazia, so today, we're going to be searching for the upper area of the castle, the Maya. We're going on to a new area, so it's going to be exciting. And we are going to be starting off our run as Sir Glauber II, the Lich King. He has ADHD and hypergonadism, which we have seen before, and he also has a new spell called Crowstorm. I think only the Liches can get Crowstorm because they're the only class I've really seen have them, unless I'm insane. And while we're here, we have all this money we're going to spend. First, I'm going to spend it to upgrade how much money we get, because that's just a really good idea to get at this point. And I'm also going to haggle, or get the ability for haggle, so we get to save more money as we enter the castle. So that if we die, we get to save more money when we go in. So that's really nice. I will be right back. And we're back. So yeah, we spent most of our money on money-related things, but I don't feel too bad about that. Now, we've seen all the new blueprints there are to see, except for that cape, which does have +1 siphon, which is the magic equivalent of vampirism, as we've discussed before. We never really looked at the Grace Rune, though. The Grace Rune is the opposite of the Curse Rune, which makes the enemies weaker, but you get less rewards. It's pretty much exactly what you would expect. Also, we got the Retaliation Rune, which basically returns damage to enemies that hurt you, which stacked all together could do a lot of damage, but I'm not going to wear them because I don't usually go for buffs in games that amount to I have to take damage in order for them to take effect. They can be very nice, like the Rocky Helmet in Pokemon, but in this scenario, I'm not going to be using it. So already we're seeing that we're getting more money as we head into the castle. 30% boost with the ability that we got, so that's very nice. I'm hoping the next thing we get is another rune, because we've only had 3 runes for a while now, and it's just good to kind of fill up that bar with all 5 pretty much as soon as you can. There is a lot of fireballs in here. I don't even know why I'm doing this. It's not like there's a treasure chest in here. Just kind of putting myself in danger for no risk, but is that really any different than what we've seen so far? Let's see, how long is this room? Well, since our goal is to go up, let's just head up and try to get to the Maya. Now that we're done with Forest Abkhazia, we should have a much easier time getting up to the Maya, since, in my experience, usually the Maya ends up being closer to start than Forest Abkhazia ever is, just based on the nature of the castle is almost always long horizontally, but it's not always very high or very low vertically, so sometimes it just works out that you don't have to travel very far to get where you need to go. So let's try out this new spell we have. Homing Crows is a very strong spell, and I think only the Lich can get it, as I said before. If not, I'll put up a note that other classes can get it. I've only ever seen it on the Lich, so hence why I bring it up. Which is something that the Lich kind of needs, because even though I do like the Lich, they're kind of that's a mini-boss. I like the Lich, but they could be stronger. So this guy hurts a lot. He hurts a lot indeed. We are going to bail out, because if we keep fighting him, we're going to be dead. That is a very challenging mini-boss. And here we actually found Kidder's Door again, which, if you remember, we can fight Neo Kidder, which I'm going to take one more shot at it today, and if not, we're just going to save it for another episode where we save it for the special bosses. So the goal in fighting this version of Kidder is you want to hit it to restore your mana, and then use the big giant sword, the special version of the giant sword, to try and rack up damage as you dodge hits. I'm kind of doing a bad example of that. Also, the runes for these characters are specific, so Lady McSorty gets 2 double jumps and 2 dashes and something else. But since we lost, I'm just going to get going on our way and try to get up to the Maya. Which, it looks like that's going to be our best way forward. Oh boy. And we're dead. Not a great first life this round, but that's okay, because after we killed Alexander in the last episode, I'm just feeling more confident in general. Sir Glauber II is still a legendary Lich, and I think that might just be because I went up against Neo Kidder. I don't know, that might be a glitch or something, because that doesn't seem right. As for what class we're going to take, we are going to take... We're going to take the Spelunkette. Spelunker, but female, you know. And with our 1,000 gold, we're going to go and buy a new ability. Because it's past time. It's overdue. As for what we're going to buy, isn't that the question? Well, it looks like our choice basically comes down to either a curse rune or a bounty rune. So for now, we'll just get another bounty rune and rack up more money. We still have 356 coins left, but I don't think we can afford anything. No, we cannot. So we're just going to have to save 20% of that as we head into the castle. And maybe we can put that towards something else later. All 72 gold of it. Now that we have all these bonuses to our gold, we're going to get a lot, though, so that's awesome. And again, the Spelunker can see where treasure chests are, which is very useful. So we know that the boss for the upper area might even just be right there. And the boss for the lower area is down there. We're not going down there, it's just something to keep in mind. So the question is, how long can I make this life last to get as much money as I can? Oh, I need to duck out of this room for just a moment. Today is just abound with distractions. I am sorry for that. That was unexpected. Well, thankfully to the power of editing, you guys don't have to deal with it so much. In the meantime, though, we got another journal entry. Let's read. Journal entry number 11. This forest is unlike anything I've ever seen before. It is both serene and terrifying. I stand on lush grass, but beside me yawns open a chasm so wide and deep it threatens to swallow me whole. Still have not heard a response from the rock I tossed in earlier. A single misstep and my descent would be eternal. It is truly a horrifying thought. An eternity of darkness is more frightening than any beast I have fought thus far. If I fell, what would kill me first? The hunger or myself? On a side note, I am now using the forest fissure as my own personal lavatory. I wonder if I am pooping into another dimension. This game sure knows how to stop taking itself so seriously when it runs the risk of doing so. Not that it really takes itself too seriously, just something worth keeping in mind. Also, you might have noticed that my character is a hypochondriac, so when she gets hit, I apparently took 1,820 damage, even though that would kill me. Okay, Spelunker, okay, we believe you. Now, the reason I was going down was to see if I could get to that other question mark room easily, but it doesn't look like I can get over there so fast, so up I go. I wonder if we'll get to the Maya. We've seen the Maya slightly before, and it's possibly my favorite area in the game, if just for the music, which is really just a remix of the castle area's music, so that's funny. I just really like the remix, and you'll hear it once we get there. For now, though, we're still going through the castle and actually getting a lot of luck at getting money from these objects. And let's duck out of here real quick after we kill this thing, so that we can get some treasure, without risking putting our own life at risk. See, look at all the money we're getting just in the castle area with all of our bonuses. It's pretty great. And this is an easy puzzle, quote-unquote, because we have the abilities that we have. Wow. And there is, in fact, another treasure over there. So, we're going to get ourselves that treasure. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. This is what I mean when I say, like, the double jump and the sprint can, like, kind of break the platforming in this game. Like, imagine, I only have one double jump and one sprint, but if I had multiple, I could just... There's a possibility that I wouldn't ever have to come down. I mean, obviously I would have to come down after, like, 5 jumps, but I could spend most of my time airborne. And that's just kind of funny to think about. Okay. There is a portrait over here, and that's dead. We're trying to open the treasure chest and move, and then run past to get the treasure. That's the best way to do it without endangering yourself. Also, nice thing about the Spelunker is since you can see treasure chests and the like, you don't necessarily have to waste your time looking in other rooms if you know there aren't going to be treasure in the next room ahead, or even the question marks up ahead, so you know if a room is going to be more quote-unquote pointless than others. Okay. This room doesn't seem like it has much in it. It's got some mages, though, and... Ow! Got ourselves some food. We got food. I already said we have food, but we've got ourselves some health again. And it looks like we've gotten pretty up close to the Maya. So now we're going to properly enter the Maya for the first time properly, even though we've been here before. Never mind. This place is just really rad. I really like the atmosphere and the color scheme, even though it's not that much different from the castle itself. I just prefer it to the castle overall. It's got a good vibe. It's got good feel. It's nice and spooky without being like, I don't know. It's mysterious, and I like it. You might be wondering why it's called the Maya, and there actually is an interesting reason for that, but it's kind of like Forced Abkhazia in that it's one of those things we're going to have to talk about later for it to make more sense. I know that doesn't really help much. Also, we got a new rune there. But it's just, you can look into it yourself, but it's more of an Easter egg than something that is absolutely vital and might be a spoiler, and we died. I know we died. Shortly into the Maya, we died. But that's okay, because we got ourselves quite a bit of money. Now, I have an idea. We could play Lady Chun-Li and Welcome to Barfsville. But we're not going to do that because I realize that would probably be extremely nauseating for you too. Vertigo basically makes you have to play the game upside down, and it is extremely uncomfortable to look at. It does not play well. It is just... It says right there, Welcome to Barfsville. They know it's hard to play, and it's just... If you see that, you probably don't want to play it. I'll probably show it off at some point, but now is not the time. For now, we're going to take Sir Kenny with his eidetic memory, even though he's kind of clumsy. I do like spell swords, so, you know, he's coming with us. Now that we've got our 3,676 gold, where should we put it? How much is this up here again? 5,520. Huh. Well, let's increase how much weight we can hold, too, and maybe get ourselves a new piece of armor as well as a new rune. We need to get a rune for our cape. We could make the dungeon more difficult, but I don't think I'm going to do that, and for now I'm just going to get another bounty rune on our cape. Just because I want to present the game as it is, to begin with, if that makes sense. Also, we can put this silver armor on now, and we're also going to buy, not this, but we are going to buy the silver limbs. So now we have a matching set of armor, if not for a slightly different cape. And again, our 300 gold is not enough to really put into anything, so onward we go, back into the castle once again. Maybe this time we won't die so quickly, even though we got a lot of money as the miner. The abilities stack very quickly, like the abilities for money and for searching for gold, they build up very fast around this point in the game. Now, our character has... what does he have again? What are his traits? Let's look at his character card. Eidetic memory, so we can see where everything is in a room, like all the enemies when they become relevant. And the other thing. Clumsy. Clumsy just means that when you walk into things, they break. Because you just knock them over, because you're a clumsy bastard. And it's actually pretty nice. I like it, because it takes care of a lot of clearing out items in the room. Combined with eidetic memory, it can be useful. But it can also be bad if you want to save things for later, to break them later in order to get more power-ups. But that's just the way it goes. And we got another one of these rooms. The item you need to hit those enemies is the chakram, because if you throw the chakram this way, forward, it'll fly backwards and kill all those enemies. But we don't have the chakram, so we're just going to have to deal with it. Instead, we will keep pressing on upward. And we're going to fight a mini-boss. These mini-bosses. Ow. And... ooh. Last time we fought these things, I'm pretty sure we died. Yeah, we died. We didn't get to kill this thing. But we got one, so now this is going to be much easier, obviously. The giant sword is pretty useful here, just as a blocking device, in order to keep them from moving around too much. So that was a pretty handy ability to have there. So that mini-boss is dead. There is an achievement for killing all of the mini-bosses in the game. I've already gotten it because I already have all the achievements in the game. Humble brag. And we'll just put that up to take care of those enemies. Giant sword's also good for clearing or handling like a big crowd of enemies. I know it's funny because I actually kind of trash-talked the giant sword earlier, even though it's pretty good. It's pretty good if you know how to use it. Most of the sub-abilities are better, and even though I kind of have a bad habit of hoarding my mana and not using my abilities in a game, as I think I've also said before, I'm just kind of repeating myself in this endless maze. It's just, this is a game where you really want to use your sub-weapons. They're vital, especially depending on the class you're using. Thankfully, it doesn't look like this room is, even though despite its size, it doesn't have too many enemies out in it looking up at the map. And we've already gotten a fair amount of money again. The money bounty abilities are just great, and they're a very high recommendation to just get early on. Even though I said I wouldn't stack the runes too much, well, I mean, that's all I could put on there that I wanted without it being curse. And we bounced, but level 2 enemies are tough. We're nearly dead, but at least we got the treasure down there. Was it worth it, though? Only time will tell. Jeez, the Maya is up high. I know I was bragging about how it's easier to get to the Maya, but here we are, having trouble getting up to the Maya. The only thing about eidetic memory is it counts these things as enemies, and that's kind of, it throws me off a little bit because, well, you can't kill them like traditional enemies, even though they're just a hazard. Thankfully, this thing is very clearly just, you know, that was careless. Whoa! And I couldn't dodge out of the way to that one in time. Sir Kenny has been slain by a guard box. Bad trend. Well, we didn't explore the Maya too much, so I'm going to check the time and see if we can go on for a 4th life. Okay, I think we have enough time to do one more life, so let's get in there with not a spelunker, even though he does have eidetic memory, and that's very useful on a spelunker. We're going to play around a little bit, and we're going to play as Sir Charles II, the Gigantic Paladin. It was a giant that won me the fight against Alexander, so I'm inclined to trust giants. First things first, we're going to buy ourselves... Well, I can't just buy a new cape, because as we can see, we have to... That's a heavy cape, it's 20 pounds. We have to upgrade this twice, but now we're out of money because I spent too much money on that. Oops. My bad. Oh well. Obviously, this is one of those games where the further you get, as you upgrade your castle, the cost requirements of actually upgrading the castle and the parts of it becomes massive, and you need the bounty runes and the things like those upgraded just to get enough money to actually make it worth it. Now then, none shall escape from my blade because it is goddamn massive and huge, and it's just going to clear shop. Here we have a fairy chest room. Clear all enemies, easy enough. It doesn't even really matter that I'm so big. Now here's this example of what I was talking about with the chakram, where if you just let it fly backward, and I got hit anyway because of carelessness. It's funny, I said this room didn't look too hard, but then it has like a ton of enemies in it. But in the end, we still got out of here with quite a bit of health. We got another vault rune. I think if you get all the fairy chests, or like all the runes, fairy chests just have a lot of money or permanent stat upgrades in them afterward. I might put up a note for that too. Just jump over this, get up here, wipe them on out. And just to make sure there are no loose ends, we'll take care of that dude, get the money he dropped. See, this is why I really like the Spelunker class, just being able to know what kind of rooms are ahead of you, and just being able to just plan out your path a lot more. It makes it a very fun class, even though it is risky for how bad its stats are that you have to deal with. And down here, we just have another big room with a treasure chest at the bottom. I'm not going to get too distracted by that and go in and get myself hurt when I'm just trying to reach the top of the castle, more or less. As you can see, though, this paladin is tanking a lot of hits fairly well. Pretty well. And that room leads into the Maya, up leads into the Maya, and this room leads into also the Maya. Now, I don't know if these rooms are separated, but this might be an example of having to get into the Maya through two different ways. We're going to start up here because, well, there's a treasure chest up here, and now that we're in the Maya, there's two treasure chests here. How suspicious. So now we're going to start running into mimics. Goddamn mimics. And they don't always give you money. But I have a friend who might go by the name of Malvikins, who I know goes by the name of Malvikins. Hello, Malvikins. I know you're probably watching this video. I believe you made the argument that you don't like mimics that give you rewards, because then they're just an encounter that gives you treasure, and then it's just rewarding you when a mimic should be a trap, and it doesn't make sense for the mimic to actually have something good inside of it. I don't know if you still hold this position. Leave a comment down below and let's tell me what you believe. If you still think that. I just like mimics as a concept in general, just dangerous treasure chests that they just take advantage of people's inherent greed, and it's just a brilliant idea. And I want to know where the first idea for the mimic came from, if it started as a Dungeons and Dragons thing, or if it has fantasy roots going back even further than that. Just something I find curious. There's a treasure chest in here and two big enemies. Can we take them? Maybe. Thankfully, for some reason, that skull, the wrath, just pushed itself way further away where it would actually be a threat. A threat. No need to fret over this enemy's threat. And with that done, we continue up throughout the Maya. Ooh, got a bunch of eyeballs. Eyeball party. And we can actually reach them if we want with our giant sword, but we can't get the treasure, so whatever. Chaintor is dead. I think they're tougher than the ones in the forest, but I could be wrong. Defeat all enemies? Is this another room like that? We can actually get this. No, we can't. Because we can't get the chakram high enough to deal with that enemy up there, sadly. Oh well. Ooh, we got ourselves a fountain. We're gonna just take advantage of that and heal up our HP, even though we could have lasted a little bit longer. I know, but it doesn't heal you all the way, so I wasn't, you know. When you see a fountain, if you're missing like half your health, it's usually worth it, because it only heals about like a third of your stats or something. And with that meat, we're almost fully healed. Wonderful. We're doing pretty nicely on this life here in the Maya. And now that I said that, I'm going to die immediately. And we found the boss door even. Could we be fighting the Maya boss as early as this? Could you imagine? It might not be so crazy. It might not be so crazy. And it looks like these two sections of the Maya are connected after all. The entrance points by the little hub area down below, even though I thought they might not be. So never mind that. That thing I was saying earlier about two sections of a castle being separated and only accessible through the hub area. I mean, it might still be possible, I'm just not sure. Let's take care of this. Also, you might have noticed that eventually those chain balls that are launched off of the chain tors do eventually explode, so that's cool. That's nice. Ooh, over here we've got a blobby plant monster, and we got a big one we got a guard box extra large. We've also got some rages down here. Rages aren't really any harder than Furies, because they have the same split pattern, even though they do more damage. And down here, we've got the Guard Box XL, which is dead. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now you can usually tell if a mimic is fake if there's no treasure chest on the map to associate with it, so that's how you know, like, if a treasure chest around here is a mimic, I forgot about their charge attack. Wow, the enemies in here are actually doing quite a bit of damage. Guess that's what I get for, like, talking smug. Wow, there's a lot of big skulls up here. But it's nothing to be too concerned about. We've already gotten all this money now. I'm not getting that money down there, by the way. I know what you're thinking. Jump down there and double jump and grab it, but I tried that before. And that didn't go too well either. Whoop, get out of here. Get out of here, Pyrite. And we're dead. Well, as much as I hoped to see the boss in this mission, it was just not meant to be. It's just as well. It's only our first episode trying to explore the Maya, so I wasn't too expectant on getting to see the boss so soon. So it goes. Even so, I think we made a good start today getting into the Maya and getting some treasure and upgrades, so I feel like we made a good start. Now, if you want to see more of the Maya and more of Rogue Legacy, then, well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode for one thing, and if you want to see more, then I just hope to see somebody in the next one. Bye-bye!